How's it going, guys? This is Eli. We're going to jump straight into it. Today, we are talking about the NCAA tournament for the 2025 National Championship. So, as I'm looking at the bracket straight off, and I'm going to bring it to you in a very kind of presentational way, brief way, we have just finished the first game of the first four, and that was between Alabama State and St. Francis, Pennsylvania. I posted my prediction that Alabama State was going to win 76-68. Alabama State that is, just won 70-68. So that means they're in. That means they're in. They're going to be facing either Duke. It's confirmed that they are facing their in-state, much bigger rival, Auburn. So Auburn is a 1 seed, even though they did not win their tournament, but they are still 1 seed. The other 1 seeds are Duke. Then you have Florida and Houston. Florida and Houston each won their tournament. So you have these as 1 seeds across the board as tournament winners. Other notable tournament winners. Michigan won the Big Ten. So there is no more Pac-12. Obviously, all the Pac-12 teams either joined the Big 12, joined the Big Ten. A few like California and Stanford joined the ACC. And then, of course, you have Oregon State and Washington State still being technical independents, but I think they are joining the Mountain West. So you really only have 4 Power 4 conferences remaining. And those are the winners. Duke, Florida, Houston, and Michigan. Those are the winners. Michigan is the only one that is not a 1 seed, though. Michigan is a 5 seed, and they're going to be playing UC San Diego. And I saw a content creator discussing the trapezoid of excellence. And consistently, UC San Diego, even though they're a mid-major, they're not a power 5, they're not a power 4, they are still very competitive, and they do still have a lot of really good trends throughout their season that lead a lot of experts to believe that they will pose a threat to Michigan. I personally don't see it. I think this Michigan team is very competitive. They've had a lot of close scores, and so I think Michigan is going to advance. A couple other matchups that I really wanted to touch on. One of the ones that I think is going to be interesting, and we saw these two teams actually face in football in a bowl game a few years ago, Oregon and Liberty. Oregon has had a good basketball team historically, or at least historically recent, but this year I think they do have a little bit of an edge to them. They play a little bit more intensely than I think a lot of people would expect them to. And they have a chance, assuming that Arizona, who is a number 4 seed, Arizona is their former Pac-12 rival. Arizona and Oregon are matched up in the first, let me see what side of the bracket this is on. They are in the East bracket. They are in the East part of the bracket. Arizona is facing Akron. Oregon is facing Liberty. So there's a very good chance that Oregon and Arizona end up meeting each other in the second round. And so that's going to fuel a lot of intensity for that game, knowing the history of the rivalry, knowing how good Arizona basketball has been, knowing how good Oregon basketball again has been. Each of these teams has produced a variety of NBA picks. I'd say most notably, at least in recent memory for Oregon, Dillon Brooks. And Arizona's produced quite a few as well. Obviously, I think Caleb Love is a top NBA prospect. And so that's going to be a very potential matchup, assuming that tough teams in smaller conferences like Akron, like Liberty, don't give these bigger teams upsets. And so, as we await the winner of UNC San Diego State, which is currently happening. There are two other games on March 19th, which is tomorrow on Wednesday, whenever this is posted. That is Texas and Xavier. Xavier's in the Big East, Texas is in the Big 12, and American College versus Mount St. Mary's. I do not know anything about the colleges of American or Mount St. Mary's, but I will say that I'm predicting Texas to go out there in the same way they faced A&M with, the same intensity, and really try to capitalize on facing, it's a smaller school, but it's also historically a basketball school. So I do truly anticipate Texas to bring a lot of intensity, play with a lot of tenacity around the three-point line, and really make a lot of adjustments on offense throughout the game. A few other matchups that I just want to touch up. This is, again, just a very brief video as we enter the tournament. I think number 14, UNC Wilmington, has the chance to really make a big play in this tournament. I do think that they can beat Texas Tech, who Texas Tech is a 3 seed. But UNC Wilmington, they're no pushover. They've been in the tournament before. They've won a few games in the tournament before. Arguably, in the state of North Carolina, sub-Power 5, they are the best basketball team. Sub-Power 5, below State, Wake, Duke, and UNC, UNC Wilmington is really realistically the best NC basketball team. And so I do think that they're going to be able to pose a threat to Texas Tech. One more matchup I just want to touch on that I think has a big chance for an upset is number 7. Actually, I apologize. Not that matchup. The opposite side of the board, number 7 UCLA and Utah State. UCLA dropped in the Big Ten tournament to the team that actually lost the championship, Wisconsin. And despite UCLA being a disciplined team, having a great head coach, Utah State, I've heard things about them that they are capable of running the floor, creating dynamic plays on fast breaks, and really exposing their defense. Playing well on defense. I apologize for the slip up. And so, again, I think this is one of those matchups where UCLA is a 7, Utah State's a 10. There's definitely potential that Utah State can at least win in this first round. And UCLA, they've been, I believe it was recently or a few years ago, they were one of the teams that got upset early. And so I do expect there to be a lot of upsets that you're maybe not thinking of. And again, even in the state of North Carolina, High Point University has the potential to upset Purdue. High Point, they were down to Winthrop in their conference tourney, and they were down, I believe, 15 or 18 at one point. They came back and they won the game and they advanced the championship. I believe they won the championship. And so there's all these teams that have won their championships of smaller conferences, but they don't really get the recognition they deserve. And so I think you're going to see a lot of teams, as you always do, playing with this type of tenacity. And so that's just what I wanted to give to you guys today. I really hope this is kind of a good intro to the tournament. I'm incredibly excited for this tournament. I'm incredibly excited to see who Duke is going to face, whether that's going to be Mount St. Mary's or American. I'm really excited for the east side of the bracket particularly, because there's a very good potential that we see a Houston-Gonzaga matchup. And all around, we've just got a stacked bracket this year. I mean, realistically speaking, there's states and there's teams that everybody should know. And that should give you a reason to be excited about the NCAA Tournament 2025. And so if you like this content, subscribe for more.